Salam everyone and greetings of peace. It's Suleiman from Purple Sheik Media. It's not enough to connect with your donors once and hope and pray that they help you continue your fundraising efforts online. You will need a strategy. You will need a donor engagement strategy with your donors using email marketing. And if you're not using email marketing or don't know what email marketing is usually connected with an email donor database that you as an organization have been collecting for the past several years, months, days, what have you, stored into a platform. Now, this might sound to some of you as being super complicated. Suleiman, I don't want to know what that is. I don't know what that is. I've been around for 10 years. I think I have a list of 100 emails and they're all my personal buddies. Well, let's talk you through that because we're going to talk about 5 ways that you can build up an email donor database, and that donor database is so powerful that can actually solve a lot of your funding issues, problems moving forward for the years and years to come. Because with emails, not only are you able to communicate with your community directly, but you can use them for your ads in the future. Your ads, your Facebook ads / Instagram, Google / YouTube ads, and create lookalike audiences and multiply those donations and multiply your awareness and multiply your visibility. So on average for nonprofits, in my decade of experience in nonprofits, each email is worth $150 to $300. Okay? So emails are gold. We don't want to mess around with emails. All right? So you want a strategy. You want to be able to get more emails and communicate with your existing community, your existing tribe. All right. So again, 5 ways to build up your email donor database. Let's go with number 1. Right? Adding an email sign-up form to your website. Now, what's the purpose of this? For greater success, only ask the bare bone information. For example, if you're looking to get an email, those pop-ups that come sometime on websites, by the way, those are generally not a good thing if someone's just entering your website as a nonprofit from the nonprofit POV, the point of view, because if they don't know you and you're just trying to get anybody and everybody to come in and sign up their email address, you haven't deserved it. Tough love. You haven't deserved to get that piece of information yet. You want to give them value first. On the other hand, if you're an e-com store and you have a pop-up and you're giving 20% off if you give someone your email, or if they you ask for that email, there's an incentive there. So it's a different context for us in the nonprofit world, okay? Other details, right? Asking for too many details up front can scare people off or make it too time-consuming to sign up for your email list. So you want to be quick, simple. You want to be able to get that information. So it's usually in the bottom portion of your website. Or you could have a pop-up and say, stay in tune for the emergencies happening in Afghanistan, for example. Or stay in tune and learn about our efforts with orphans in Pakistan or in Yemen or Syria, another example. Or our feeding program in Minnesota. So you can do something such as that, as dragging people into it. But generally speaking, the first thing, if it's a new person coming to your website, it may not be the best idea. However, you can have that email add-on box on the top left or the top right-hand corner just not popping up, and let people come in through the traffic. And we're going to go into how to bring in traffic to your website, okay? Making it easy for people to share your newsletter, right? So we all have newsletters, right? And we all know, I said in the beginning, it's not enough to contact your folks one time, or once a month. Oftentimes, when I talk to a lot of nonprofits, you guys are sending, emails once a month or once a quarter because there's this phobia, there's this fear that you're going to lose your subscribers. I'm going to tell you straight up, if you're going to lose a subscriber because you're sending out like 3 or 4 emails a month that are highly value-based, lose them. Lose them. Because you know what? The ones that you're going to keep those are the ones that are staying on, that are going to consistently see your message, and they will give not just one time, but they're going to give monthly. And I'm going to talk about that later on too. All right. So you want to make it easy. Empower your loyal readers to share your email newsletters by adding buttons that link to social media and email a friend link. So some of you guys are doing this, some of you are not doing this, some of you are just not doing any emails at all. But if you are doing emails, you want to make them shareable. Right? Think of a viral piece of content, that viral piece of content that was crazy wild on Instagram 2-3 years ago, where people were sharing it with you on WhatsApp messages, or you saw it when you went on your personal social media. Viral content is basically shareable content. The more it's shared, not just liked, right, or viewed, the more it's shared, that is what makes it a piece of viral content. Now, how do you do a viral email really quick? Well, it's being simple, relatable, organized. Every time you're putting your email together, you can't just tell me that you hired a new staff member, or guess what? You were able, well, this is a great thing, you were able to feed 150 people this month. You never, by the way, give me statistics. Here and there, they're okay, but generally you don't want to give too many statistics. You've got to make it relatable. Tell me about Yasmin, Mariam, Hamza, Muhammad, Ahmed, Joe, Bob. Tell me a story about them that really is moving to your audience. It's something that your audience can relate to. That's something that can kind of feel emotionally, that they just have to share that story about how Hamza was 7 years old. His mom had diabetes and was partially blind, and he got a job, and now he's 14 years old, and due to the support of your supporters and donors, now his mother is receiving proper medical care, and Hamza is finishing up his studies. There's plenty of stories out there like that from many of our organizations, whether it be domestic or international. Those are the stories within human poetry that really resonate with your donors. That is something that's shareable. Make it shareable, right? And offer that option at the bottom where people can just forward it out and email it to their buddies, their families, and their friends, what have you. Next, leverage some of your valuable content into gated content. Gated content. Okay, if you don't know what that means, that's totally cool. I'm going to give you a really good example. Think of like when you were going to a family member's house, a friend's house, or their apartment or condo, whatever it may be, and you're going in and there's a security guard or an officer stopping you and asking you a couple of questions. What's your name? Where are you going? Where are you coming from? Whatever questions they ask you. That is usually in a gated community, right? So think of your emails when you're giving valuable pieces of information in your emails. A really awesome video, something value-based, a how-to video, whether it be, or a video on a specific story or whatever it may be, a particular blog. It could be anything, right? You want it to have something that's gated, right? So it's called gated content, right? So when people are clicking to open it up and want to sign on, they have to put in their first name, last name, and email address, right? So that's how you're gathering data, is because you're targeting audiences that really want information, but they've got to put their information in there in order to retrieve it. It's a common thing. It is very ethical. There is nothing wrong with it because people who are doing it want to be a part of it. Whether you log in and you want to get articles from the New York Times or The Economist or at anything, it's all gated. In fact, if you want to see my ebook, right, which took me being in the nonprofit space for a decade in fund development and otherwise, I put all that information in there. If you're going to get it, I definitely want your name and your email address because I want to continue a relationship with you. Not just because I want to sell something to you. I want you to benefit from all the value that I've gotten from the past decade plus in the nonprofit space. Okay, so the next one, well, within that, by the way, when you have that, you don't want to ask too much pieces of information. Even with ours, the ones that we design, it's literally your first name, last name, and email address. I don't want your personal address. I don't need to know your Instagram handle, your Facebook name, or whatever, right? I don't want too much personal information. I just want to be able to say, Mariam, Jason, whatever, salam, here's my message, right? So it's pretty simple, okay? The next one is going to be one of my favorites, actually, and something that we passionately do at Purple Sheik Media, actually, is blogging. We love telling stories and content creation, right? Blogging and content creation. So the purpose of a blog, to put it really simple, is to drive traffic to your website. Listen to this again. Drive traffic to your website, right? We want traffic to come to our website because our website, our landing page, or funnel, whatever you've got going on, that's where you're collecting your donations. So obviously I want people to learn about me, learn about my projects, and that big red or yellow button that's on the top right-hand corner, and if you don't have it in the top right-hand corner, you've got to put it in the top right-hand corner. As cliche as it sounds, that's where it belongs. Your call to action must be in the beginning, by the way. But going back on topic, you got to have it up there. And so when people come in, they're reading about you, they're looking at your website, they're looking at the design, they're seeing how fast it is, not because they're like in IT, but they're just human and they have very little time and they're really curious about a thing, but they generally don't want to spend too much time, right? It's just a human thing. Like the average time that someone spends on the website is like 3 to 5 seconds, right? Before they make a decision of whether they're going to buy or not, right? So bear that in mind. So you want to be able to have that red button there. And of course, don't forget that information for the subscribers, of course, to the left-hand side where they can enter their email address. Of course, and then from there, they're coming in through SEO, right? They're coming in through Search Engine Optimizer. They're coming in and they're able to read everything, possibly donate at the same time. And the blogs, what they do is they establish you as a resource, because a blog is something that gives value and story to something within your niche, number one. So it establishes you as a resource in your particular area, in your particular niche. If you're a domestic organization having a feeding center or a feeding truck of some sorts, or you're distributing health aids, whatever, wash products or whatever it may be, you can talk about things that are related particular to your niche, meaning like how water and sanitation and hygiene, what's going on in that world within the United States. Any topic, it doesn't have to particularly be on your Minnesota, Minneapolis organization or your California organization or your Texas organization. It could just be within that frame. And you're becoming a resource in your niche, driving traffic. People are like, okay, wow, these guys are legit. They'll consider donating. It happens all the time. And blogs usually have SEO keywords in them, right? That's what drives people to the website, because when we put them up for you, or you guys are doing it, whoever's doing it, what happens is that when people type something on Google, that is going to pop up. Whether someone's researching a particular project, someone's looking for a nonprofit, which, by the way, there's a lot more people than you think looking for nonprofits, and they use Google and not just Charity Navigator and those other websites, okay? They're looking for them, and then that's how they discover you. Not, really like invent you by any means, or they discover you, right? Through SEO, okay? So next thing is, bottom line is, your email marketing, it's super important. You need sequencing in your email marketing. You need to make sure you're conveying messages quite often. And I'm going to do another video, so stay tuned in terms of that, how many emails you should be doing, the power of emails, how to get money from those emails, how to monetize them. But really, this is for you guys who have an email database that's not so great, that hasn't been seasoned, and or who need an email database. Emails are gold. They're worth $150 to $300 plus per email. And by the way, here's a quick factoid for you. 92% of Americans use email, and over 60% of them are opening them at least once per day. Okay? So if you guys need help in terms of building your donor database, in terms of cultivating your donor database, in anything that you need to fund development, increasing your visual presence online, and even just quick tips on how to raise funds even physically, click that link that's in this email or below the video and schedule a time. No strings attached. And I'd love to jump on the phone with you and share my experience with you and how I was able to raise $7 million plus dollars for social good causes over the past decade. So without further ado, God bless and talk to you soon.